Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, back to my video. Me, Iqbal Fariansyah Ridwan, and my partner Ayni Makrufa will tell you about EJ of nuclear power in Indonesia. Okay, when we talk about nuclear, the first thing that will come to our mind or Indonesian people is a negative thing, namely about the nuclear weapon of mass destruction. Yes, we think this is a natural one where Indonesian people from the beginning of school to graduation are always given to them. So history is history. The history of World War II, especially about the Japanese bombing by America that took place in the city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In addition, the general public also considers nuclear to have a negative effect that has a wide impact on the surrounding environment. But behind all that, there are so many benefits that we can get through this nuclear power. If we really use it properly, then we will get a positive impact generated by nuclear itself, one of which it as the main producer of electrical energy for everyday life. To make the most of nuclear energy, we need a nuclear power plant. A nuclear power plant is a thermal power plant that uses one or more nuclear reactors as a heat source, as stated in the Presidential Regulation of the Republic of Indonesia, number 5 of 2006, concerning the national energy policy. Nuclear energy is included in the energy group that can be developed. Furthermore, in the 2005 until 2025 National Energy Management Blueprint, nuclear energy is included in the type of alternative energy that will be used for electricity generation or PLTN. The government steps are also getting stronger by including nuclear energy as a component in the 25 until 2009 National Research Agenda or ARN. This is very good news where this can make Indonesia a more developed country and not depend on conventional energy alone. So this is a very benefit for Indonesia because by building a nuclear power plant, it will have a good impact on all sectors. One of which is the Indonesian economic sector will grow. At this time, Indonesia is still using PLTU, whose main fuel is coal and oil. This is very inefficient both in terms of economy and in terms of energy. Although the price of coal is relatively cheap, its use for power plant is very large, so that Indonesian coal reserve will also be depleted. Link-wise with problem, the price which is quite expensive will have an impact on the price of electricity production, so that the price of electricity will be more expensive. In contrast to nuclear power plant, if the power plant uses nuclear energy, electricity production in Indonesia will be more efficient both in terms of energy and economy. That is because the density of nuclear energy is very high, higher than coal or petroleum. As in illustration, in 1 kilogram of uranium can produce electrical energy of 50,000 kilowatt. Even with further processing, can reach 3 million and 5,000 kilowatt. Meanwhile, 1 kilogram of coal and 1 kilogram of oil can only produce energy of 3 kilowatt and 4 kilowatt. In a non-nuclear power plant with a capacity of 1,000 megawatt required 2,060,000 tons of coal or 2 million tons of petroleum as fuel. Meanwhile, a nuclear power plant with the same electrical capacity only requires 30 tons of uranium with 10 cubic reactor per as full.
In addition, the use of nuclear energy in PLT also has a good impact on the environment compared to PLT with conventional energy at this time. A comprehensive analysis of greenhouse gas emission from various power plants show that NPP is the technology that releases the least carbon, emitting 25 grams CO2 per kilowatt hour compared to fossil fuels which emit 250-1250 gram per kilowatt hour over the entire cycle of electricity generation, assuming that the operating nuclear power plant replaces the installation of electricity generators that use fossil fuels. The nuclear power plant can reduce CO2 emission from the electricity sector by 70 17% from what it should be 60%. Taking into account other environmental burdens, nuclear power plants do not release gas or particulate acid oxides that can cause acid rain, urban smoke, and depletion of the ozone layer. Solid radioactive waste generated from the operation of nuclear power plant and nuclear fuel reprocessing facilities reach 500 meter cubic of low and medium activity waste, as well as several tens of meter cubic of high activity waste from reactor operate at one fuel cycle per year. The volume of waste generated is much smaller than the waste generated by coal-fired power generation for the same electricity production capacity. Meanwhile, in coal ash wastes, there is a natural radionuclide concentration, naturally occurring radioactive material, NORM, where the radiological impact of this radioactive substance also needs to be taken into account. There are so many positive impacts produced by nuclear itself, namely the main producer of electrical energy (NEP) for everyday life. Using nuclear energy for electricity production in Indonesia will be more efficient both in terms of energy and economy. The use of nuclear energy in PLT also has a good impact on the environment because it reduces CO2 emission from the electricity sector by 17%.